Welcome back to Stonehouse Gardens. I wanted to give, this is, let's see, what, I think we're at 3 months now. Today's July 12th. And you can see, you know, it's mid-season. The palette just was a flop. I don't know, it just didn't get enough sun. The sunflowers I had to thin out, and they're really tall now. You can see where they're above the fence. So a couple of them fell over and are now supported by some old dance tights. You know, we do it classy around Stonehouse. The potatoes also have had a little bit too much shade, I think, so they're not really flourishing in their container. But everything else over here where there's lots of sun is growing really well. I spent yesterday thinning out that tree over there. It looked like a bush because it had so many saplings coming up. But I want to show you a couple of things to highlight, like my shadow in there. You almost can't see my strawberries because I've been eating those like crazy, but the spearmint is growing up. This was volunteer spearmint, also volunteer sunflowers. So, you know, if you have a purpose and you're in a spot that's reasonable, then I keep it and cultivate it. But lots of stuff has been thinned out. I've already dried a batch of spearmint, and you can tell it's ready to be cut back and dry some more. I wanted to show you, lots of broccoli has been cut. The sprinklers just turned off, so there's a lot of water on. But we still have, so, okay, so there you can see where we cut that main, if you look back at last month's video, the crown was bigger than my head. And then we've got these little guys that are coming off. So with broccoli, you know, it'll continue to produce even after you've harvested. The Brussels sprouts I've never grown before, and they're doing great. Onions I'm also in the process of thinning out. You can tell we've been eating them like crazy. But thinning them, I think our grandpuppy might have walked through here and knocked over some onions. Either that or the cat, but something small enough to get in there and knock things down. Carrots also we're thinning, we're eating. There's just a ton of growth, and we knew that when we planted it, right? I did a lot of, the beets are looking really good. Let's see if we can get down here where you can actually see some beets. Let's see. Not really. Not really. Can't see them because sometimes their crowns are peeking up above like the onion crowns. See the onions peeking there? They're doing great. I did pick some yesterday and took them out so they could. This is what I wanted to show you, was the management of the towers. I think most people know how to manage their dirt gardens, but the tower gardens are a little overwhelming for people. So you can see I was out here yesterday, and I just trim off and toss it in the bucket there. Any leaves, only that one. See how it's got a little bit of disease, sunburn, whatever it is. So I'll cut that off. We've got some artichokes in here. You can see the little guys coming. There he is. There's a bigger one in there somewhere. There it is. It's actually ow, those things are sharp. And the tomatoes are just loaded up. The dill. I've also cut back and dried a batch of dill. So this is the dill that'll be used for pickling. And the fresh dill. And the Roma tomatoes. So if you remember, I have these 2 towers that are for salsa towers. And so I grow Romas on them. And then I've got the pear tomatoes and the cherry tomatoes. That's what's growing all wild up that fence line right there. All those guys. They'll turn. I have eaten a couple of cherry tomatoes off. So again, some supports where they're getting heavy. The Romas are looking nice. So this will be salsa. In a few weeks we're going to have lots and lots. There's our peppers, the jalapeno peppers. We've got jalapenos, we've got some serranos over on this one here, some chilies. That's an Anaheim, I think, Anaheim chili. They're doing really, really nice, really nice. So when they get this big, you just keep, I've got a few marigolds kind of tucked in here to help deter pests. So I just kind of, when they get spent, like these guys, you see that? It's hard with all those leaves, huh? I just kind of snap it off and deadhead it, and then once you deadhead it, so you deadhead, you can toss it, and it'll grow with the weeds. And, so I went through, and when you cut off those, I think people are just, there's a serrano. People are a little bit nervous to harvest, to trim, and they're afraid it's going to affect their yield, but actually it improves your yield, because when you cut it back, when you get rid of like these guys here, see the little kind of ugly leaves, you just pinch that off, like so, and it then gives you more airflow. It cuts off any disease that might be, that the plant is spending time fighting, and gets to put it on the fruit. So you can just see all of the fruit. I mean, these tomatoes are just loaded. You'll really be able to see it in a couple weeks when they have all turned red. But you can just see how loaded they are. So I trimmed them back. I missed a few. There's another one. You can see that right there. So just kind of follow it back to the main artery and just snap it. See that? And take it out, and then that gives it a nice area for airflow. And then that kind of ugly leaf that's got a little bit of disease and stuff, this goes in the garbage. All right. And then my cilantro, I took a cutting off of the cilantro and used it as a dried herb. And so here, you can see now I've let it go to seed, and we've got some coriander. That's the cool thing about cilantro is you can get two different harvests, two different types of spice off of the same plant. So it looks kind of bushy and ugly right now. Can you see it? It feels like it's growing to the sky. And there's a few peppers that are kind of being shielded. So again, letting them grow where they've got enough airflow and enough, watching the diseases. We've had aphids like crazy. So, just keeping on top of the pests and the diseases, but allowing the plants to work together is really, really effective. I see there's another. You see the little coloring on the leaves? So I'm just gonna go right there to that stem. I'm just gonna break it off, and then it allows those tomatoes to be disease-free and get what they need. The herb tower is looking great. Again, I chopped off a lot of the dill, harvested it, so this will be the fresh dill for more pickling. And I am going to, I was reading last night about sage and all the great, this is chamomile, so we'll dry that, use it for some tea. Some sage, which is really great for memory and cognitive function. So I'm actually going to try integrating this into my daily diet instead of just, drying it and using it at Thanksgiving. So, because there's just a lot of health benefits. This is my little medicinal tower, if you will. Lots and lots of great benefits, and it smells delicious. All these flowering plants help attract the pollinators. It's great. Color, it's just beautiful. So I love to walk out here, and when my daughter we had a movie party, see our screen over there. We came out on the lemon balm and we just picked it off, scrunch it up in your fingers. It's a great mosquito repellent. Wipe it all over their bodies and no pests. It was great. It was great. So I just wanted to give you a little bit of a update on the towers and the gardens in general, but especially the towers, because like I said, I think people are afraid, oh my gosh, how can you grow 12 tomato plants in this much space? And that's how. You just, oh look, we've got a little bit of green coming on there. These are the slicer tomatoes that I do have integrated onto this tower. So you can see those. So we've got a slicing tomato, we've got 8 Roma plants for canning salsa, and we've got the pear and the cherry, the yellow pear and the cherry tomatoes on that one. So we are growing a lot of produce, a lot of medicinal herbs and cooking herbs, peppers, and then over here in our raised bed we've got the onions. So we just have a ton that's growing in a really small space. Our space on this property is tiny, and if I can do it, you can do it. All right, have a great summer day. Shine on.